Welcome to the Earth Science Classroom. Welcome to the Earth's Interior series. And today we're looking at the physics and fundamentals of our Earth's interior, our beautiful, huge rock body, third rock from the sun, perfect Goldilocks position that gives life and just amazing flying rock around the sun. So let's start out with the two differences in the layers of the Earth. Now, some of the textbooks or worksheets or whatever may discuss the chemical layers. The chemical layers, there are three layers. And they are principally the crust, the mantle, and the core. Now, it's pretty basic, but in terms of the chemistry or the composition, it's pretty straightforward. The crust is mostly silicate, so silicon oxygen related minerals and therefore rocks. The mantle is pyrrhotite, which is a very coarse, very dense, igneous, intrusive igneous rock. It has less than 45% silica content. With the crust being higher silicates, the mantle is mostly pyrrhotite. Okay. Missed an I and T there. There we are. So, and then we get into the core. The core is mostly iron and nickel, which are metallic elements and minerals. And there's also a sprinkling of other elements in there, such as magnesium, aluminum, oxygen, other ones as well, but they're trace elements. They're very small in terms of how much it makes up the actual core itself. So there's three distinct layers with the chemical composition of the Earth. Whereas if you turn to the physical makeup of the Earth in terms of the density, the temperature, and the change in pressure as well, the physical characteristics of the Earth, you get 6 layers. Now, me personally, I like to start with these 6 layers anyway, because then, you know, it's easier to discuss, easier to work with in terms of building upon this knowledge for tectonics, volcanoes, earthquakes, continental drift, all those kind of things can build on these 6 layers better than the layers you can in the crust. And it's easier to see the different layers too than just explain the mantle in different layers. As one, it's easier to break it down, I feel. So I use the physical layers different. So the 6 layers are as follows. We have the crust as per normal, which is the very thin exterior line of the diagram, the model. Then we have this very small, tiny lithosphere. Then below that, we have another thin, gradually thicker, but still very thin in the grand scheme of things, which is the asthenosphere. And then we finally get to the larger layer, which you would think is the mantle. Yes, the mantle is part of the mantle, but we call it the mesosphere. Now, please don't let your students get confused with this. This also is the same name or term given to a layer in the atmosphere. Again, it's hilarious if students think that the density of the mesosphere inside the Earth is very, very small number, or the temperature is negative 90 degrees, because they get confused with the one in the atmosphere. Again, it comes down to research ability and ability to read more than just the first word that comes on Google. Always a hard thing. So then we get the core. The core is divided into 2 layers, as we discussed in a previous video on the discontinuities, which is Layman's change, where in 1936 he found that the inner core existed. So we have the outer core right here and the inner core right here. So I tend to gravitate towards the physical 6 layers compared to the chemical layers. Obviously, we have to discuss the compositions of each layers, but I feel it's easier just to dive straight in with the 6 layers. Again, depends on your level of classroom, level of students, and what you are comfortable with. So, in terms of the similarities, yes, there are this, the crust and core are there, but they're separated into two. The crust is pretty much the same, but the mantle is split into the upper mantle, upper and lower mantle. The lower mantle is easy. The lower mantle is just the mesosphere. That's the lower mantle. The upper mantle is a combination of asthenosphere, lithosphere, and technically the crust is a part of the lithosphere, and therefore it is part of the upper mantle. All right, so we'll go into more detail in future videos on these layers and the composition. And if you like this video, please subscribe and leave a comment.